Hey everybody, Simba Sickness here again to talk to you about what I bought and what I watched today. And today's movies come off of Craigslist. Now I don't usually buy DVDs from Craigslist or really from anywhere used that I can't first look at them because they tend to be scratched a lot of times. However, the reason why I came across this guy's list at all was because he had an HD DVD that I wanted to pick up. It was brand new, never opens, although I do usually trust HD DVDs and Blu-rays a lot more than DVDs because they tend to usually not be scratched when I buy used ones. So we had this title for $1, definitely wanted to pick it up, but when looking through his list I saw two other DVD sets that I was interested in. For $1 a piece I figured, what's the worst that happens? I end up wasting $2, not a big deal. So I ended up picking up two other DVDs off the guy as well, so here's what I got. The first title I got was License to Wed. This is the HD DVD combo. This is a pretty decent movie. I haven't watched it in a while. It's been a few years since I checked this out, but I do remember liking it. I do remember enjoying it. For $1 on HD DVD, I definitely had to pick this one up. I'm going to say that I'll watch this one again pretty soon though. Next I got the Essential Ernest Collection. This here I've been wanting to find for a long while now. I remember coming across this all the time at places like Walmart. Unfortunately, I never picked it up. I don't know why. I really should have. I think they were selling it for $5. Definitely should have picked it up because now I can't find it anywhere. So when I saw this in a set, I definitely had to jump on it. This comes with Ernest Goes to Africa, Ernest Greatest Hits Volume 1 and Volume 2, Ernest in the Army, Hey Vern, It's My Family Album, and Your World as I See It. Some of these titles you can only get in this set. I definitely want to get all the Ernest movies, so definitely had to pick this one up. Unfortunately, the first disc is somewhat scratched. Definitely more scratched than I would usually buy a DVD if I came across it like that. That is unfortunate. The second disc, on the other hand, is for some reason untouched, so I guess you only ever watch the first disc. But like I said, unfortunately, it is scratched. But for $1, it's a good placeholder until I come across another copy of this. And the last title I got was the Substitute 4-pack. This here comes with all 4 Substitute movies. I love these films. They're so cheesy, they're so ridiculous, they are so over the top, but they are so much fun. If you like cheese, I highly recommend all 4 of these. Unfortunately, the first disc in this one is also scratched. The second and third discs are absolutely fine. I don't know what this guy was doing. I guess he just watched all his first discs and that was it. But unfortunately, it is a little scratched. Still playable, looks fine. I don't think I'm going to have any issues with skipping, but still, it is a shame. But again, for $1, another great placeholder until I can replace this. So that's it for what I bought today. So now it's what I watched. And today I checked out Escape from Planet of the Apes. This was great. Definitely a hell of a lot better than Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which I was so bored with. I hated that movie. This is definitely a step up. And it is a step up because it is sort of a continuation, but at the same time, it's sort of a new story. It's not just a really bad continuation that's trying to be the first movie over again. This is a bit of a role reversal movie where now it's the apes on human-occupied Earth as opposed to some humans on ape-occupied Earth. What ends up happening here is Zira and Cornelius actually end up getting into one of the crashed spaceships on the Planet of the Apes, and right before the planet explodes from the last movie, they end up escaping, but they go back in time, crash land on Earth, occupied by humans, and it's sort of a role reversal. Now they're the strange ones, and that's, it's sort of the same story over again, but not exactly, because it doesn't have that whole message of necessarily, humans having to wake up and realize that they're going to destroy the Earth. It's not trying to give you that message again. It's kind of, I don't know really what I would say the message is. I guess a message of kind of like understanding other creatures, because when both the apes start talking and they have to go in front of Congress, or well, I guess not Congress, but some sort of hearing and the president and all that stuff, they have to talk to them and explain who they are and whatnot, and they're very not understanding of the apes. And that kind of bugged me actually, because if you have ape creatures that look like this, they're not, they're not chimpanzees. They derive from chimpanzees, but they're not actually chimpanzees. They're much bigger. They look a lot more like humans. And the humans just automatically assume that they are chimpanzees somehow. They assume they can't talk. They assume they're dumb. They assume all this stuff. And that kind of bugged me. That was a little hard to believe, because I'm thinking if you have a spaceship crash landing on your planet, even though you think it's actually one of your spaceships because it is one of your spaceships, but you have ape creatures get out of it, ape creatures that look like nothing on Earth. I mean, they might resemble chimpanzees, but they're definitely not chimpanzees. You have these big human-like ape creatures. Why would you automatically just assume they're dumb? Why would you automatically assume they must be exactly like chimpanzees? They must be nothing different. They must be just mimicking people. They must not actually be able to talk. They must, they must be just dumb. That's kind of what I didn't understand, because I would pretty much automatically assume, who knows what these people could do. I mean, if they start talking, I'd go, I guess they can talk. If they start acting like humans, I'd go, I guess they act like humans, because they're, I would think they were aliens or something. I wouldn't just assume they were dumb. So that sort of bugged me, that's kind of how all the humans in this movie sort of saw them, as they just automatically assumed they were just like chimpanzees, which I thought was a little ridiculous. I don't know if they were trying to give a message there of, again, like, understanding, other beings, other people, or just understanding people who aren't like you, I guess, but it sort of seemed a little forced in that. I mean, I just can't, it just made humans look really stupid. I mean, not that I don't think they kind of are, but I mean, to that extreme, which is dumb. So that did sort of bug me a bit. But in the end, it was actually a decent movie where it's both apes. Zira now is pregnant, and the president decides that, like, well, Zira and Cornelius can live because, they don't seem to have any threat towards the Earth. However, they eventually did learn about the Earth being destroyed, and they just kind of assume that it was because of the apes, and they don't want the apes having an uprising and basically taking over humans, because they don't quite understand what happened. They don't quite understand that the humans basically destroyed themselves, and then the apes came from that. All they know is that in the future, apes are in control, and humans are basically now apes. They're kind of dumb, somewhat dumb creatures. So the president basically says, well, we don't want that to happen. We don't want the humans to be conquered by the apes. So what we'll do is Zira and Cornelius, they can live fine because they don't seem to have any harm. But what we're going to do is we're going to kill the baby so the baby can't grow up, and we're also going to make it so they can't breed anymore. We're going to sterilize them so there can't be any more talking apes. So besides that, they can live. Well, obviously, Cornelius and Zira aren't too cool with that. They don't want their baby being killed and stuff. There's also two scientists as well who are on their side, and they don't want this to happen. So unfortunately, and spoiler here, in the end, Zira and Cornelius, they both end up getting killed. However, they are hiding out at one point at a circus, and both the scientists, they put them there because the one scientist, the male scientist, is friends with the guy who runs the circus, and this guy who runs the circus, he's really cool, and he's all about helping, and he's a very nice guy. What ends up happening is they actually have a chimpanzee, a baby chimpanzee there, with his mother, and they end up actually swapping the Zira and Cornelius' baby with the other chimpanzee. Of course, nobody knows this except for the scientist and the circus owner. So that's the twist at the end. At the end, you think the baby died. You think Zira and Cornelius, they're both dead. Obviously, they're both dead. But you think the baby died too, and you're like, okay, everybody's dead. That's a shame. But then at the end, the scene goes back to the carnival, and they show the baby, and he's got this the baby chimpanzee, and he's got this like necklace around his neck that he was given for good luck earlier in the movie. So it's him. So that was pretty cool, and that actually made me interested to see the next movie now, because now I'm kind of curious. All right, so the chimpanzee's still alive. What's going to happen now? Is he going to grow up? Where's the next story going? So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. I like how they left it on a cliffhanger there. So it was a decent movie. If maybe you've seen the first two movies, obviously Planet of the Apes is amazing. It's a fantastic movie. And then you watch Beneath Planet of the Apes, and you just thought it was god-awful, because it was pretty awful. And maybe you haven't watched any of the rest. I would at least recommend seeing Escape from Planet of the Apes, because this was a great movie. It was a lot of fun. Definitely kept me entertained for the hour and a half. It was definitely a step up from the last movie. So I would definitely recommend it. Great film. So that's it for what I bought and what I watched today. Definitely a great day. Ended up getting 11 titles for only $3. That sounds good to me. Unfortunately, like I said, 2 of the DVDs were a little scratched up. They still should be playable, but they were a little scratched, more than I'd like them to be. So for now, they're really just placeholders, cheap $1 placeholders, until I can replace them with an actual better copy. And also watching Escape from Planet of the Apes, I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a decent Planet of the Apes movie, and I'd highly recommend it. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to see what I bought when I watch tomorrow. See ya.